Hey parents, how you doing today? As you can tell from my voice, I am fighting off some sinus infections or a sinus infection. So bear with me on this, although it does make me sound like a huskier, more manly man, and I'm enjoying that. Um, this week, today's kind of a different episode, and I want to do something kind of special today. Before I do that, I want to give a couple announcements real quick. Today and tomorrow are parent-teacher conferences, which is going from 3:30 through 7. So drop on by if you haven't already made a schedule. I am happy to see you and talk to you all the live long day. On top of that, you may also ask to see your student's essay. So they should be finished up by Wednesday. There are 2 different writing prompts they could have done their essay on, and I am actually grading them as they write them. So the grades should be coming in pretty fast. Other than that, today's a little bit of a different one. I have had occasionally parents ask me questions. I feel like some of those questions would benefit everybody. And one of the questions I got last week, and I've gotten it a couple times this semester, is what can I do to give my student a competitive edge over other people? Because we all know that the job market is very competitive. And I will first of all say, just by you turning in and being part of your student's life, you're giving them a huge advantage. Like statistically, that's enormous. So, I mean, you deserve a lot of credit for that. But there are a couple other things that you can do. And I first want to say that the job market has really changed over the last 10, 15, even 5 years. Not just with COVID, but if you think about it, when I graduated high school in 2002, I mean, think about the things that really didn't even exist. The internet barely existed, cell phones barely existed, and those are now enormous industries. So we have to prepare our students in many ways for jobs that don't even exist yet. So, with that being said, there are a couple things that you can do that'll give your student a huge advantage. And I base this off of me talking to industry leaders and business professionals, which is kind of what I do a lot. Like I try to talk to them and see, what do I need to teach my students so I can give them the competitive advantage? And the first one is, and this is so basic, and you would not believe how big of a difference it can make. And that is, ask your student whenever they make a claim, and that could be any claim. You ask them to take out the trash. Taking out the trash is stupid. How do you like Mr. Reynolds' class? Mr. Reynolds' class is horrible. Okay, any claim they make, just ask them to support that. Why? That's all you have to say. Why? Explain that. And you would not believe, even with adults, how we all have some very strong opinions. But when we're asked to support our opinions, we have a really hard time doing that. And that doesn't mean what we believe is wrong. That just means that we haven't fully thought through why we believe that or what led up to that. And just asking that question changes the thought process and changes it to thinking, oh, well, I don't like it. I don't like taking out the trash because it's stinky, because I was playing a video game, because I'm a teenager, I'm naturally rebellious. And because it's 10 degrees outside and I don't want to, freeze. So, something as basic as that, just making them, and at first it'll be really annoying for them, but I'm telling you, I talk to business professionals and you'd be amazed at how many of them ask me to get students to do this, to just support what they believe. If they're advancing up the ranks, and we're talking about good jobs because we want our students to be competitive and have really well-paying jobs, if their boss comes to them and says, hey, what do you think about this next quarter? And they give an answer and they're like, all right, well, why do you think that? You don't want them to freeze. You want them to be natural and be like, well, I believe this will happen because of this, this, and this. So you just building confidence in them doing that. Again, it'll be probably pretty difficult at first. I noticed that whenever I ask students to do it, they don't like it. But it's such a valuable skill. So that's the first big thing you can do. The other big thing you can do, and I base this on kind of not only did I talk to, but if you pay attention to things like LinkedIn, if you don't know what LinkedIn is, it is essentially probably the number one way right now that businesses are going out and seeking professionals, and of all categories, but really the more higher end jobs. And it's like Facebook for applications, I guess, where you build kind of your business profile, and based on how attractive that is, businesses come and find you. So based on that, they did a survey based on that. And the number one thing that businesses are looking for right now, besides persuasion, which we're working on with this essay, just saying, is creativity. And creativity is kind of hard to build unless you really work on it. Tim Cook, for example, is the CEO of Apple, and the number one thing that he looks for four things when he hires people. And the second thing he looks for is creativity. He also has, can they collaborate? You'll notice that's also on the LinkedIn page. So that's why we do so much group work in my class, curiosity and expertise. So one of the things I really would recommend that you do is whenever your students do something, like let's say they mow the lawn, just ask, hey, do you think there's another way we could have done that would have been more efficient? And if you say it like that, it comes off as a criticism. So I normally preface it with saying, hey, you did a great job mowing the lawn, but I wonder if there's a faster way we could do that. And just by making them think through that process of, is there a new, different way we can do that? That you would not believe how that changes things. And this is used all the time in the real business world. So when we interview people here, one of the things we do, we know a lot of businesses, but definitely us, we no longer ask, why are you good? The traditional job questions we used to get asked, what can you do for us? What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? Which I hated those questions because, if you say you have no weaknesses, they know you're lying. But if you tell them your weaknesses, then, well, never mind. But the thing we do now is we give them a scenario. And we'll say, this is something that happened in the classroom. It went all wrong. What would you have done differently? And based on how well they kind of navigate through that question is largely going to determine if we hire them or not. And a lot of businesses are doing that right now. My brother-in-law just got hired at Bain Industries, and they're one of the two big consulting firms in the United States. And he was given a scenario like that, and based on how he worked his way through that scenario, determined if he got the job. And luckily he got the job because he's pretty good at that. So you asking them if there's a different way they can do that allows them to use that creativity, allows them to use critical thinking and viewing things from a different angle. And that's a really difficult skill to do, but it gives them a huge advantage over other people that will be graduating, other students, other people in the industry. And remember, you only get better at practicing it. Like if you're horrible at first, I always tell my students, if you're horrible at this at first, you're supposed to be. I would not go with you to the football field having never caught a ball before and expect to do one-handed catches. That would never happen. But I don't want to extend this too much. On that note, if there is something you would like me to talk about in the future, AP versus on-level classes and what's the pluses and minuses, or there's a whole string of things. You can always email me or text me, and I'll take your considerations into consideration. So I hope do give me some feedback if this helped you or not. If it did not help you, I won't do any more of these. If it was helpful for you, I may do a few more. So regardless, have a good fall break. I hope to see you at Parent Teacher Conference.